Chapter 27 of Dracula begins on November 1st, as Mina records her travels towards Castle Dracula with Von Helsing. By November 4th, Mina becomes so sleepy that she can no longer keep up her records. Von Helsing sleeps fitfully because each time he wakes, Mina is watching him closely. On November 5th, he writes Seward that he can no longer sleep at night for fear of Mina, so that he draws a circle of communion wafer crumbs around her to protect them. As Mina watches calmly, Dracula's vampire women materialize, calling her to join them. The fire and wafer crumbs protect them both, as the vampires feed on the horses. When dawn approaches, they fade into the mist, and Mina sleeps. On November 5th, Von Helsing adds to his diary after entries from Harker and Seward, who report various developments. He leaves Mina sleeping in the protected circle, then goes to the castle and heads to the chapel. He finds two of the vampire women in their graves and fills the pool of their enthralling beauty. But a heartbreaking wail in the distance from Mina wakes him from the desire. He places crumbs of the communion wafer in a tomb with Dracula carved into the stone and slays the vampire women. As he leaves, Von Helsing sterilizes each door so Dracula can't enter his castle. On November 6th, Mina writes that she and Von Helsing are seeking Harker in Holmwood. The castle looms behind them, while wolves howl threateningly. Through binoculars, Von Helsing sees the Sigani men approaching with Dracula's box. Harker and Morris yell at the Sigani to stop, but they throw themselves into their task. Harker leaps from his horse onto the cart and pushes the box of earth off as Morris fights through the armed Sigani, Bowie knife flashing, and Mina sees he is wounded. The Sigani, surrounded by the four armed men, give up just as the sun begins to set. Dracula wakes, his red eyes glowing with triumph, but a few seconds too late. Harker slashes Dracula's throat with a kukri as Morris spears his heart with his Bowie knife. The vampire's body crumbles to dust, and just before, Mina sees peace on his face. Just before Morris dies, he points to Mina's face and says, "See, the snow is not more stainless than her forehead. The curse has passed away." A brief note from Harker 7 years later ends the novel, summarizing important events, including a son named Quincy, born on the anniversary of Morris's death. Von Helsing comments that the boy will one day understand how brave and good his mother is, and why men once dared so much to protect her. The novel's gothic influences assert themselves again in the final chapter of Dracula. The eeriest scenes occur in the forest, when the vampire women call Mina their sister, and of course in Castle Dracula, where Von Helsing faces temptation. He is an old man by late 19th century standards, and though married, he fills the lascivious pool of the vampire women lying in their boxes of earth. Von Helsing passes the test, but only, he reports, because Mina's soul wail breaks the spell. With the castle sterilized against Dracula's return and the vampire women released to salvation, only one task remains: destroying Dracula. The final battle to some readers seems almost anticlimactic. The Sigani don't put up much of a fight, the wolves never attack, and Dracula never has the chance even to sit up in his box of earth. Only 2 sharp blows end his reign of terror. This may seem anticlimactic, but Stoker seems to want the focus of the final moments of the novel to be all about sacrifice and redemption. In spite of this, over a century later, Dracula continues to live on in popular culture as one of the most iconic evil characters in history.